Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wired Nerdy Podcast. This is season number 3, episode number Quattro. Is that right?
I
Quattro?
believe
I
that.
didn't take
Yeah.
Spanish. This is Keith. This is Doug. How y'all doing, man? Dougie, what's up?
Doing good.
How you
Yeah, I
doing?
didn't know if you were asking the audience how they're doing, but
I'm asking everybody how they're doing.
hey,
That's what it is.
I'm doing great. I thought we were free of this cold weather, but now it's back. If you look
Dude,
out
it's
my
weird. It's
window, it
raining
looks
today.
gross out there. Yeah,
It's all
nasty.
rainy. I went out
Yeah.
earlier, and it's just
It's
it's kind of
it's a really good day to stay inside and play some
video
Civ.
games. You
Well,
think
I'm
we're gonna?
getting too
Don't
far
you
ahead of
jump
myself.
ahead. We are gonna
Okay.
talk about that, but we got some good stuff ahead. It was a busy week. I mean, I don't know about you, man. It's just been like a lot going on in the
Oh
personal
yeah,
life,
I've had
work
so much
life.
going on at work.
Dude, like I normally, I like to settle in and watch the Mr. Right Way podcast. We had him on last season, and we also had Neo Ness on. And they do a live podcast. I keep mentioning it, and I love like interacting with them because during live you can like chat. Well, I couldn't make it, but what was awesome, Doug, was
Yeah.
Brian, my brother, pinged me. He's like, "You got to watch the first few minutes of the recorded session." Right there, man. They had the Wired Nerdy mug. He was drinking
Yep.
from the thermos that we got him, and he gave us it's a little bit of a plug. The whole show drinking from that Wired Nerdy. I don't know, man. This is kind of cool to see the community and that sort of thing. So I've been talking to them. They may go to the Columbia RetroCon. I'm really
Oh,
hoping
that'd
they
be
do.
nice.
We can sync up with them. I think it would be awesome. So working on stuff. It's cool to have a community like this. But yeah, man, it's been busy. So I'm looking forward to our episode today. We have some fun stuff to talk about. So
Absolutely.
you been busy?
A little bit, yeah. My busy season is January to May.
Say now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right now, yeah.
Then things get really slow for you. Then we'll get into
Uh,
some. That's when I
yeah,
can
don't
pull
tell
the.
my bosses that.
I was
I
gonna,
still work in the off season, yeah.
whatever. Like, yeah, you get ready for that busy season. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
meant in your personal life because work life chills a
Oh,
little bit.
yes.
I can pull you into more like video games and D&D
Mhm.
stuff, right? That's more what it is.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up. I
We do.
have cleaned my calendar off per se for all these weekends coming up of all the fun stuff we got, all the good stuff we're gonna cover on the show. It's gonna be great.
We do. We've got quite a bit. I was looking ahead at that as well. I was like, we got to get our Comic-Con tickets on lock. We got the
Yeah, we need to buy
RetroCon. Like,
those. I haven't got those yet.
yeah, we need to lock those down. Do you want to do some
Yeah.
news?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, let's keep the nerd news.
Nerd News.
All right. First things first here. Let me go ahead and
Yeah, as we begin the season, I'll let you pull it up. We talked about a lot of games coming out last week. Today, we're going to spend some time on some movies coming up.
it's movie heavy. And
It
actually,
is.
and it isn't just like I didn't find straight up articles. There's also what I would call a rapid round of rumors and confirmations about movies coming down the way. So nerd news is going to be movie heavy. I'm glad you called that out. That is so true.
Yeah, this first one, Fantastic Four. Now, I'm a little heartbroken. I'm going to let people watch it, but
Okay. Why?
Mr. Fantastic is not who we all thought it was going to be from the last. What movie was he in? I'm
You
It's
got me
early in the morning.
It's in the morning. I'm still drinking coffee. I do know that it was played by John Krasinski of The Office.
Yep.
And it was not Infinity War. Was it Infinity War? Like the last one when they time traveled? Yeah. I'm going to guess part 2 Infinity War Endgame when they time traveled. That's what I'm thinking.
I believe you're right.
I think I am. If I am, that's not bad for Keith. Pre-caffeinated Keith. That's not too bad. Everybody. So the point is, everybody wanted it to be John Krasinski from The Office. He played it in. I'm gonna still say it. I'll admit it if I'm wrong. Infinity War Part 2. John Krasinski was the Mr. Fantastic. Is that right?
Yeah.
The stretchy
I'm
man.
confirming this. I'll do my little fact check here.
Yeah, Doug's gonna fact check. So it wasn't though, but I knew Pedro Pascal, who is Mandalorian fame and everybody loves him. Last of Us, he's been a busy dude. He's kind of like the it guy right now. So he's playing Reed Richard on this, and so head of the family. One thing that struck me right out the gate, and I think it's an interesting take, is if you look at the trailer, it is very 1960s. It's a retro feel, which I think is cool. These movies have been kind of played out. Fox had a really bad run with it. I don't know how I feel about the Thing. He looks like the Thing from the comic, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
I don't know.
But I really like
So
the Jessica Alba one. Anyway, was I wrong?
you were kind of wrong. So
Come
Doctor
on.
Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Thank you. I knew there was
So
time
he played
travel.
Reed Richards,
Okay, I
aka
was wrong.
Mr. Fantastic, I believe, right?
And he did a great job on it.
He
Yeah.
did an amazing job.
Thank you for
And
that
I know
fact
a
check.
lot of fans were like, okay, he's been kind of in a comedy show the whole time, but this looks great. He could move over into the action
he
movie
did good.
scene. So
Thank you for fact checking me, even though I don't like being wrong. I'd rather get it right though. So I don't know. What do you think about the trailer? What do you think of this?
I think it's a good start. I like the visuals. I like the character design, all that good stuff. And then your brother and you will throw me some hate, but there is a boss at the end of this trailer. I know his name. I just cannot think of it.
To be
You
honest with
kind of
you,
see his silhouette in
I
the very
think it's
end
I
scene
think
of this trailer.
I think it's tied to the
Right there. Yeah.
the Sentinels that actually another reason why I know is from like the arcade game. I'm gonna have to
Oh, okay.
so I can't throw you hate because again I'm not awake and
Yeah.
so
We got to not do these so early.
I know.
But
Anyway,
yeah, I think it
this
looks
summer.
great. I think it's a good reboot to the series. I mean, Jessica Alba. Whew. Anyway, we'll move on from that.
You're gonna have to let that go, buddy. You're gonna have to let that go. Oh man, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'll check it out, of course. I wonder if like they're gonna do the whole in theaters only for a little while and then like straight to Disney Plus. I think it depends on how it performs. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
Going
see.
on a very short soapbox, I love that stuff is still going to the movie theater.
Yeah.
There's something about watching on your couch and watching in the theater, and I know it's so expensive, but it's the experience that you're buying.
It is, but they're not. No. It's not necessarily the same, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll definitely check it out this summer though. July, man. Although July is the month of Superman. See, I'm wearing my hat today. So
and that trailer looks fantastic.
July's going to be a good month because of all the superhero movies. Because I do think this looks good. I do want to check it out. But as you know, I'm stoked for my James Gunn DC stuff. We're going to see how he does. Giving him a chance. Don't screw it up.
Nope.
Alrighty. Next trailer. And here's the thing. There's a theme with all these movies, and I'm just going to say it. Hollywood has always been this way, but they are so sequel heavy.
Yes.
We have a new Jurassic World Rebirth. They now have your girl Scarlett Johansson. You were mad about Jessica Alba. You got
you brought me back with the
ScarJo.
second trailer here.
You got some ScarJo in here. So they're mixing it up. They had Todd or not Todd Howard. That's Ron Howard's daughter, Dallas Bryce Howard, was in the prior ones. Of course, you had some Chris Pratt going on. Those movies were okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm getting kind of wore out with these sequels. Hollywood is going down the path of just whatever they know can sell, established intellectual properties. And I get it. It's a business. But dude, I feel like we're being so overly saturated when it comes to these things.
I have to agree. The thought of bringing back all this stuff all the time and not some new idea kind of worries me for the future. But we have a lot of youngins coming up through college. Maybe they got some new ideas for some new movies, new scripts, stuff like that.
The problem is funding. They don't want to fund an unknown film. They want to take from pre-established novels, comic books, or sequels.
Stuff that they know they're going to get their investment back in.
Or video games. They want a built-in audience already. They don't like gone are the days. I mean, look back at like Goonies launch, Gremlins, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, even goes into action movies like Die Hard's. Like they had no established audiences at all. And now they don't want to build a new audience. And I think it's because these movies are costing, triple digit $1 million, $500 million. And the other thing, like I think it was Matt Damon who had done a great explanation. You ever seen the show Hot Ones where they eat the hot wings?
Yes, I love that show. It's getting ready to start up again.
It's a great show. Matt Damon did this whole thing on that show. It's worth watching the clip, but the paraphrased version is he explains that why this is happening. It essentially boils down to Hollywood is always going with the sure thing because back in the day, they had 2 releases to make money. You had the release in the theater, so that was your opener, and then you had a release on DVD. Well, and it could make just as much, if not more money. So they were willing to take a chance on unknown properties before. But now, if a movie costs, $100 million, which is a low number, by the way, but just for
Yeah.
round, they got to do double that in ticket sales to make back what they spend on marketing and to make it. And you're not going to make that in the movie theater because, as you just said, the movie theaters are kind of dying. Guess what? You're not going to make that in streaming either because streaming, you just don't make as much. So, as much as I love streaming, I think it's awesome. It really has made, from a business standpoint, Hollywood risk adverse, and they're not taking risk on news stories. And so that
Yeah.
leaves it to like the independent filmmakers to do stuff like that. But I love it in that there are things that I like, but I don't know. You just keep seeing sequel after sequel, and you just kind of get tired of some of the old stuff. You want some new IP. I feel that way with video games too. Sometimes you just want something new, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah, you gonna check this bad boy out?
I believe I will. I probably won't go to the theater unless they release some more trailers.
Did you see the
I'm a
last two?
fan of the old days of the first Jurassic Park.
Did you see the last two with Chris Pratt?
I did. So the first one
Mm.
I really enjoyed,
Yeah,
Jurassic World, when they first went to the new island
that
and the
one was
new theme
strong.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
The
good.
the one after that,
Second one was
I remember at one point I was laughing when we watched it, and I'm like, "This is stupid,
yeah,
ridiculous." Like I remember at one point I was like, "All right, this is stupid storytelling." I was kind of annoyed with the last one. It was fine, but it wasn't great. I don't know.
yeah.
Like you said, it was one of those things where I was glad I streamed it and I didn't go spend all that money at the theater. So we'll see. Sequel. Now, before we jump into that, we're going to keep on the this theme here, and I have to like go back to my notes here just because I want to forget. These are confirmed elements of rumors that I want to call out. So first of all, they have a new writer. They've gone through like 5 writers for the next Star Wars. It's the New Jedi Order, and it's going to focus on Rey, and it takes place 15 years after Rise of the Skywalker. They now have George Nolte assigned to write to it. They've gone
Yeah.
through a lot of them, so that'll be interesting. But we're not going to see that one for a while. And by the way, none of these have dates. These are all just confirmed things that are in production. Resident Evil. There's a bidding war in Hollywood right now to go through another Resident Evil, but a total reboot. Scary movie by the Wayans brothers. The Wayans brothers are back in, and they're going to do a movie reboot. They're shooting for 2026 for release, and then finally a Robin Hood series on Amazon is in development as well. So I don't know. Out of all of those, you didn't hear a lot of new. Back kind of the
No,
same theme. So what are your
not too
thoughts on that?
much. But it gives us some hope for today.
Yeah, it does. All right.
Well, head on to the next one if you want.
Yep. Let's move on to the next one. Let's see here.
This doesn't affect me much, but did you have any issues getting online?
For this, I've been so busy this week, I have not played.
Yeah.
I was thinking of our buddy Joe because, our central topic today, we're going to dive into our early impressions, because it's technically not out yet, of the game Civilization. He bought it on PlayStation, but they
Yeah.
have been going through the last 2 days. So this was as soon as yesterday from the time of our recording. They had a complete 12-hour outage of the PSN network, the PlayStation Sony network. And it is ticking some people off, which I kind of get because you do spend a lot of money, especially if you're like, you have the subscription service. And if you rely heavily on their cloud streaming, you wouldn't be able to play your games. You wouldn't be able to play your PlayStation. I don't think they've pinpointed exactly what's going on here. But they're saying you may have difficulty launching games, apps, or even network features. Certain games probably would work, by the way. But certain ones go out to the Sony PlayStation network first and then won't let you get around it. Or you can't get your achievements unlocked. That's the other thing. And Sony, of course, is saying, we're working on it as soon as possible. So, yeah, man. Doesn't this kind of call into question, as we become more reliant on these networks and digital games? This
Yep.
is another issue, moving away from physical game copies. What
Yeah,
are
I
your
was going to
thoughts?
say the same thing. I don't play a lot of cell phone games, but there's
Mm.
some games on cell phones, tablets, other devices that if you don't have service, like you just said, to connect, you can't play it. So it's almost a useless game.
Yep.
I think companies, if we start experiencing more and more outages, they need to build in, I don't know the right terminology, a backdoor or something that this is going to work and upload all your data when you get connected again. It needs to have an offline mode. And I know a lot of games, especially cell phone games, do not have that. You'll get on there, you won't have signal. Say you're camping, you want to play a game real quick. Nope, sorry, no signal. You're not going to play this game.
I hate it when they do that.
Yeah,
it's annoying.
Definitely, it's annoying.
Yeah, my wife had we went on a road trip not too long ago, and she on her Switch, she was playing a game called Little to the Left, which is an organization game. She
Nice.
absolutely loves it. She's a bit what's the term, OCD maybe, but no, you essentially sort things in a drawer, and I don't know. To me, it's a chill casual game. She loves it.
Yeah.
But she launched it on her Switch. She had a Switch Lite, and it would not launch without connecting to Nintendo's network. Now, it's not a streamed game. It's locally installed on the Switch. So she had to hotspot her phone. The minute she did, we were in the car, it connected, and then it let her launch the game. So that's a great example of what you were just saying.
Well, just think about long flights, going on train trips, cruises. I mean, there's too many possibilities of not having signal.
Yeah.
And that's when we want to play our game, when we're stuck in a hotel room or on a flight or train or something.
That is so true, because it's not always connected. That's great. Or airlines now, they'll charge you like an arm and a leg to like internet.
I think it's
and then even
$10 just for the flight for Wi-Fi.
It's ridiculous. I'd rather have a local game. And that's where I will say, like, I love things like the Steam Deck, because most of those things, after they're installed from Steam, they'll go. So I like that.
Do offline play.
Yeah, it's really cool. All right, man. Let's go on to the next thing. You have a puppy.
I do.
Would you do this? So this is the world's first lab-grown meat for pets.
Yeah,
it goes on sale for British dogs. What's your thought on this, man?
I think first, my dog's not that fancy. We get just some dry, small dog formula kibble for him, and
all right. So you wouldn't do it?
Too fancy.
So you're basing it on the wait. So wait. There's two lines of thought here. You're basing it on economics versus the actual product itself. So first, you're saying you may not because of the economics. It's maybe too expensive.
Well, I wanted to be clear. I love my dog. I treat it just like my little kid, but not to be rude, I'm not giving him caviar and champagne all the time.
They have. You ever go into like the pet stores and they have the dog food that's in a cooler? It's kept cold.
Oh yeah. No, I've gotten my little dog ice cream and stuff. I've treated her for her birthday.
Now, sometimes you have to do that for health reasons. I know my parents have a dog, and sometimes for health reasons, you got to give them like the fancier food and those, whether something's going on. But okay, so let's talk about the fundamentals of. This isn't a person, but how do you feel about lab-grown meat?
Lab-grown meat scares me, but I'm going to our friend Matt and the conspiracy theories I can just think of with lab-grown meat.
Soylent Green is people. That's a really old reference, by the way. If you all don't know, it's a movie.
And leave it to the British. I saw a thing the other day that they eat beans on toast. And
that's old, man. That's like from way back.
Weird stuff.
That is weird. I will say that, but I don't know, man. Like, we have lab-grown diamonds. Granted, you're not ingesting them. There's a lot of lab stuff. I think you're going to see, as we move into a future, especially with AI, you're going to see more lab-grown stuff. Now, the debate's open on the edifice of whether or not it can be trustable or not, but I don't have a problem with it. I'd try it. Would you try it? Would you try a lab-grown steak? Would you take a bite? Would you?
I think I would, because you may cringe at this, but I eat McDonald's chicken nuggets, and Lord knows what are in those things.
Actually, that's the only thing at McDonald's that I'll do their fish sandwich. I don't do a lot of red meat for health reasons, but like I'll do their fish sandwich and chicken nuggets. But you are right. If you all have ever seen
how they're made,
oh god, it's like emulsified. Don't watch it. It's gross.
Yeah.
Which is funny on a weird fact. Like a lot of that with McDonald's. Did you hear that the Super Size Me guy was debunked? Like he was an alcoholic. He died. I don't know if you all. I think his name is Morgan Spurlock.
Yeah.
He was an alcoholic. And if you ever watched that, documentary. He basically said, I'm going to eat exclusively McDonald's. Look how sick it makes me. And like he's throwing up. And come to find out, he's an alcoholic and was drinking throughout that whole thing. And a lot of his health problems had nothing to do with the McDonald's he was eating. Not that I'm promoting and saying McDonald's is good, but it was a misrepresentation of that point. So, yeah. I don't know. But you're right. You make a good point, though. Hot dogs.
I just worry what the base substance is to create the food.
I agree.
What are they using as the base? Well, I think of it as like the Star Trek replicator.
It is like
obviously not that fancy, but what is it being generated from?
Well, you can grow cells now. So like if they look the way that the fundamentals, as I understand it, is if they harvest real cells from real meat, like cows, for example, let's just use that, or chicken or whatever, they can replicate them now, like you said, inside a lab. So it's not that they're artificial. This is no different, bro, than they can clone a human. They can clone a sheep.
Well, think of it that makes sense, yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, it's artificial. It's not meat. It's just
grown in a lab instead of a farm.
They are cloning cells. It's like if you had one cow that was super tasty, like the best steak you ever had, and let's say you want to have it over and over again, they're cloning the cells. And instead of it having to be alive and slaughtered, they can take cell cultures from that Wagyu beef and they can clone them. They can grow them in the lab. So it's not, now a lot of people would have ethical issues with that. But here's my point. It's not that it's not meat. It just didn't, it's cloned meat. Let's just.
Right. I know what you're trying to say.
You kind of get what I'm going at, right?
Yeah.
I'd try it. I don't know. We'll see. This will be interesting to see where we're headed with this.
As long as somebody puts their stamp of approval that it's safe for dogs, I'd be okay with it.
Over time, I'm sure that I think we're going to see more of this stuff. I feel like we're living in like a Black Mirror episode anymore. Every time.
Well, now I do have treats that I have to keep in the fridge for the dog, and that's the only treats she likes.
Really? So
they're little chicken jerky strips.
So she is fancy. You ever eaten one yourself? Be honest. Be honest.
They are delicious. I tried it once. It says human grade on the package. I said, okay, what's safe for my child? I have to eat first. I got to protect my child here.
I saw you pause, and I knew the minute I saw your face when I asked. You're thinking, don't ask. Don't ask. Don't ask.
Don't ask that question.
Guys, I know what I'm getting him for Christmas now.
A bag of dog treats. Well, what I think is as long as I don't drag my butt on the carpet, I'll be fine.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we got to move on.
All right, let's keep it. So Super Bowl's this weekend for the last thing. You're going to watch the Super Bowl, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I am not a diehard. I'm a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I'm super excited for the 3-peat. Go Chiefs.
It's where it's funny. It's funny about dynasties, okay? So it's where we live. If you all don't know, we are in the Midwest, so centrally located. We lean Chiefs just because, well, it's where we live.
I always root for the home team, usually.
Typically, right? But what's so funny to me, and this happened, and remember, I'm not Mr. Sports. I'm 90s sports guy. Like I was. So to me, I think of like in the 90s when you had the Dallas Cowboys, and it was Troy Aikman. It was Emmitt Smith.
Yep.
All of those cats. They were amazing. Oh, yeah. But everybody hated them because they had this series of like boom, 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 boom wins. It's like once you get to the 3 win, all of a sudden people start hating you. It's kind of like people hating on the Yankees in baseball, like these dynasty teams. It seems that way. And it kind of got that way in the 90s when Joe Montana was QB because they had I don't think they were, I don't remember. I don't think they were back-to-back consecutive, like 4 in a row, like Michael Jordan, Chicago Bulls, right? Kind of a thing. They did have a lot of wins though with Joe Montana, and that was Marcus Allen. See, I know these cats. I know the guys from the 90s. So when I play like Joe Montana football, like I those are the people I know. And so,
well, the Patriots, current history of the Patriots just went through that. They won a bunch.
They did.
The Patriots are cheaters, which they actually did cheat. But
that the ball? Is there something with the ball was deflated?
Deflategate is what it's called.
I've heard.
And then they were recording the other team on the sidelines with a video camera, which is against NFL rules.
Why?
Like recording their play calls and stuff.
Who cares? You can go back and watch their old games.
You can, but I guess down on field level, you see more detailed.
Do they see the play?
Hear the play count?
Do they see the playbook And
They may
okay,
have done that too. Yeah.
I got you. I got
But
you.
going back to my point is whenever you win a lot, then they start scrutinizing like, okay, how are you winning? So the
Yeah,
Chiefs thing right now is, well, the refs have to be on their side. The refs are
I've
in their
heard that.
pocket.
I've heard a lot
Well,
of people
no,
complaining
the
about.
refs are supposed to be a nonpartisan, independent little company that's refing the game. They're
Well,
not supposed to take sides.
you're probably biased because you're a Chiefs fan, but when you watch the games? I don't. Like, what do you think? Have you seen
Now, I
favoritism?
take a step back and I say, okay, that was a bad call. We should have not gotten that penalty. I see it. Now, some other Chiefs fans will say, no, 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 no. The penalty was good. But I look and I listen to the announcers because the announcers are supposed to be like just announcing the game,
Is it prevalent?
not one side or the other, really.
Do you feel like
So
it's
when they
prevalent?
say, yeah, that's a bad call, we don't believe in that, I kind of think, yeah.
But you're saying
I
every now and then that happens, all right? But is it consistent? Does it happen all the time in
I
favor
don't
of the
think
Chiefs?
so. I
So
mean, maybe I'm
yeah,
being biased, but I think 1, 2 penalty calls a game, and
got it.
we're still good.
But you feel like that sometimes it also happens for the other team as well. Like
Oh,
they
absolutely,
get
yeah,
favorable calls.
yeah. Well, you got to understand the refs. There's what 6 of them on the field or
Yeah.
something. They can't catch every single thing that happens on
How do
there.
you feel about AI taking over their jobs and lasers and it being accurate?
Now, I have seen that, and I've seen that they do that. I think in tennis to measure
Oh,
where the ball hits the
the
outline.
line? Ah,
And I would be okay with that. I'm always for technology as long as it doesn't overtake the game, if that makes
interesting. Okay.
sense.
All right. All right. So our overall point in bringing this up is, and I will ask you this: how do you normally watch it? Because we're in the age of streaming. Of course, obviously, you typically, depending on who's carrying the game and got the rights to it, you can just do over the air antenna, especially with HD. It's being held on Fox, which typically you're going to have some kind of an access to. How do you
Yeah.
normally watch it in the era of streaming?
In the era of streaming, I probably have the app. So I have a lot of
Hmm,
apps, way too many. I need to cancel a bunch. So I probably nowadays have the app. Yeah, I remember back in the day that we had the let me start at the beginning. We had TV, so we were over the air.
hmm.
Everything was kind of then. Then we went to the cable life and then the satellite life.
Yeah.
So I think I've just tried to stay current on the lowest package I could afford.
It can be
So that's
expensive.
what I have now. I have all the well, not all the apps, but I have apps with ads. You
Hmm.
know, I'm getting the lowest tier package on all these apps.
Yeah. So on this front, with it being on Fox, if you want to watch it for free, Tubi, and Tubi is a free streaming service that is ad supported. Now it's in 4K as well, which
Yes.
honestly, if you're on like a lower tier of Netflix, not doing 4K, I mean, so I got to give them credit. But they call out here the championship game will be broadcast nationally on Fox this year, and will be available on platforms like DirecTV Stream, which I think you have to pay for,
Yeah.
and Fubo. Then it says looking for a free way to tune in. The Super Bowl will also be live stream on Tubi and 4K, no less. And I also don't want to throw out. They also have Hulu Live, but you got to pay for that. And then YouTube TV, you got to pay for that as well. Sometimes, if it's on a delay with YouTube, some people will be doing a cast of it, but it's a little delayed. So you might do YouTube. But your best bet, if you want to watch, it's going to be on Tubi. It looks like for free. And Tubi
Yeah.
has some good movies on it too. I don't know if you've ever seen Tubi before. It's,
I have Tubi and Fubo or
yeah,
something. There's
yeah,
another free one out
yeah,
there.
Fubo.
Yeah.
Then they list Fubo in there.
What's interesting, depending on what channel you watch. So I've been at bars, I've been at restaurants before. They'll have sports on. Well, you'll look at one TV that may be on their satellite connection, and one TV that's on their cable connection. They are not synced up. So I'll see a play on one TV. I'll look over, and the play happens a couple seconds, 30 seconds later on another TV. It's crazy.
I gotta do this. I always love this.
Yeah,
They,
so what he's looking up
yeah,
right
go
now
ahead.
is the Madden. They always do Madden if you don't know that. John Madden was an announcer.
The
He has
basketball
got a
game, or
football
sorry,
game, been
football
going for
game.
years and years. They do a simulation to pick the winner.
Yeah, and so in these games, they've gotten so sophisticated now, where they will essentially don't they make it to where it's AI for both teams. So they'll
Yeah.
they'll do an AI for Chiefs, AI for Philadelphia, and then they just let the game play out. Like
Yep,
they
and they
let
do the correct roster, all the starting players, all that stuff. Yep.
the video game actually plays it out. And what I love is when they do that, and then you can see who's going to win, because there's a lot of AI. They have they have all the player stats in the game,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
so they have all this data, and then they let the AI probably or probability wise play it out. And they're saying on this one, predicting the Philadelphia Eagles will beat the Kansas City Chiefs 23-21 in the upcoming. I wonder what is the percentage rate of accuracy. Have you seen that? I thought it
That's
was like
what
a
I was just looking
50-50.
up.
I thought it was I once looked it up, and I thought it was like a 50-50 kind of a thing.
So they are at a current 46% accuracy
46.
rating.
That's 50-50 to me. That's a coin toss.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So they've been right 6 of the last 13 years as far as winners goes.
okay. All right. I bet
So
you're
hopefully
sad.
we have a chance.
I bet you're sad Madden is rooting against you on this one.
Yeah, that's okay. They probably used a cheat code. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, they probably used to cheat.
Or they paid the refs in Madden.
Up,
That's
down,
where I'm
down,
going.
left, right.
Oh yeah.
All right, brother. I'm gonna stop the share on this one here.
Yeah. So as he's getting that all closed up, we are going to talk about Civilization 6. Just came out. No,
Explain
7.
what it is first.
Oh, you put the wrong number in there. Isn't it 7?
Did I say 6? I'm sorry.
See, we're doing this live here.
We're doing this
Civ
live.
7.
Civ 7.
Yeah. So if you bought a little higher edition, special edition, you got to play it early. Me and you, Joe, Matt, we've all been playing. We've all had a lot of feedback, a lot of thoughts about the game. It has definitely changed big time from Civ 6, which we had on the screen there. And we're going to get into it. Now, the first thing is Fire Access. The developers have responded to some of the criticism and are working to fix some of the stuff we're complaining about.
Yeah, it's important to note that this is early access, meaning that, like you said, if you pre-order, you get, I think it's the 11th.
Is when it officially releases, yep.
And so we've been playing it because we have early access to it. And these are great games. They are what are considered 4X strategy games. If you don't know what the 4 means, if I remember right, it's like economy, military. It's like 4X means that you're managing 4 different things within the game. So there's a lot of level of detail to it. But what's cited here on our friends on Polygon, they point out that Fire Access has fired back, and they said, look, we know we need some time to take in all of your feedback. It's got a mixed review right now. If you don't know, on Steam, all of the players can give it a review, even in pre. And depending on where its percentage lands, if it's a mix, that means you're at about a 50-50. People like it, 50 thumbs up, 50% thumbs up, 50% thumbs down. People are really criticizing it. And we're going to get into some of those details. The biggest thing that they're hitting is the user interface. People don't like the menus. They say it feels like it was just a direct port from a console over to it. And it doesn't have the same feel of what the others did. The others, it was easier to navigate. They said they're going to fix that, and there's a patch 1.001 that will be coming out in March that they've already been working on. So they say we'll see some relief come March when Fire Access plans to release patch 1.1.0, which will include quality of life UI adjustments, ongoing AI balance and improvement, adjustments to diplomacy, crisis, and plus additional bug fixes. So that's good news in my opinion. I think it's great. We caveat is it is early on, but let's go ahead and dive into our discussion about like what are the impressions. You've gotten probably farther than I have because you've had a little bit of time with it.
I've got a little more downtime at home. I have played as, I'd have to look it up, I am Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, are you?
I kind of liked some of the stuff he had there. Mm-hmm. And then I played as Rome for my first age, which was the Enlightenment age, back when you're first starting out.
Yeah. So one of the big differences, explain real quick, there now are eras. And when you pick a leader, right, it matches the era. Like, does the leader continue on into, like, you play so many turns and then an era is over. Like, then you, like, antiquity, and then you go into the Dark Ages. Then you go into, like, Renaissance, and then you work your way to modern times, right? What happens as you, because I think you've gotten farther than any of us. Yeah, it's antiquity, exploration, and modern age. There it is on the screen. So what happens when you?
The interesting thing is when you go to the new age, you keep your leader,
Yeah.
unless I haven't seen a way to switch. And then you switch civilization.
That's it.
So I have went from what did I go from? Oh, Rome. So I went from being a Roman to
Can't remember. I remember mine.
uh, British, maybe.
Oh, so you
But now
completely
I'm
switch
went
cultures
to
too.
American.
So
Yeah.
what? So you can actually switch cultures. What I did, and it was interesting continuity wise. So I started as Chinese, and Confucius was the leader,
Yeah.
and it went from that, and then when I went into the next era into exploration, it was the Ming Dynasty. So
Oh, nice.
if you pick the same culture, it actually follows with history of what their eras were.
Oh,
So
well, and
kind
that
of
could be
cool.
my mistake. I might have missed how I kept that civilization,
Yeah.
but it gave me the other options. I probably just missed the one to stay with my current.
I stayed with mine, and you're right. You can pick a completely different one, which is what you did, and I kind of liked that how it
Yeah.
did it,
Well, it
but
totally changes up the gameplay too.
it does. They've added new things like that. They have simplified certain elements. I'll tell you right out the gate. The thing I do not like, you were able to, at the very beginning of the game, you were able to have your scout go explore the map because you have this fog of war over it, and you could put it on an auto
I have the
explore.
same complaint.
Dude, it's gone because you don't want to
Yeah.
always be telling that dude where to go all the time. Just go wander, man. But what I
Now the argument
oh, go
the
ahead.
argument I've seen online for that is that you pay more attention to your scout and what it discovers. Well, I really don't care about that. I want my scout to auto explore and just tell me that he finds stuff. I hate to. I'm over here on this side of the map, and the maps are huge.
There.
And my scout's as far as he can go on the other side. So when it's his turn to move, I'm focused on my city, my settlement, my capital, and he goes all the way over to the scout who found a rock or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
You know.
have you watched any of the tip videos yet?
No, I need to
So
because
I have, and let me
yeah,
explain to you on the scout
yeah.
topic at least. If you look down at the bottom, they have two new features with scouts. One is a search, and the other is lookout,
Oh,
and you can use it each turn. And the reason why I think they want you to control where the scout goes is when you have one movement point left, you always want to click search, and it will expand out the fog of war. It'll double his view, and then you can see those special things that you can claim.
oh,
And then
nice.
I think the goal is at the very beginning of the game, from what I saw, they want you to search around and they want you to find as many of those as possible and to find your neighbors because they're trying to emphasize as soon as you find your neighbors, you can do diplomacy.
Hmm.
And so if you do a lookout, that's kind of cool. He builds a little tower and he stands on it. What's neat later in the game, if you have scouts, if you put the scouts at the edge of your kingdom and do those lookout towers, he'll stay on them and you can see incoming marauders that are going so you don't get surprised attack.
Oh,
So
now
that's
I
a
like
yeah,
that.
that's a new feature that so I strongly encourage you to go watch some of the tip videos out on YouTube.
Oh, I absolutely need to
Because
do that. Yeah.
I my biggest critique is I've been feeling lost. It doesn't feel quite like the prior Civs. Now I'm open-minded in enough to where I'm like, okay, I want to try something new. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I've been feeling a bit lost because the menus aren't as deep. The thing is, you can't. Did you tell me you can't? As far as I know, you can't rename your cities, which is
No, I
weird.
don't believe you can.
I
And
can't figure out how to do it if you
that
can.
was an easier way for me to find stuff.
Me too, because I don't know which ones are you're spot on. It's
Yeah.
so hard to know which one's your city. I don't like
Some of
that.
these names are historically accurate
They are,
and
like
I can't
Roma for
pronounce
Rome.
them.
Yeah.
So it says,
I appreciate it though.
yeah,
I appreciate that but they should give you the option. Those are quality of life improvements. I want them to go back. I like the changes that they've made. I want them to go back though and pepper back in just a few of Civ 6's things. Name
yeah,
changes on cities,
yeah,
letting you let your scout auto roam,
yeah.
things like that. So those are my
Yeah, I
complaints.
think we all understand it's an upgrade, definitely.
Yeah.
But some of the finer things from the previous one, they're good. They can still come over to the new version. It'll be
Yeah.
okay.
One of the new things I personally like, and a lot of people are mixed on, up at the top left, you have that globe. You have those diplomacy points, or
Yeah.
there's a term for them. I don't know if they call them diplomacy points, but You spend those, and if you always want to have a bank of them, they said, because what happens is like anytime you would encounter an independent city state or barbarians, they used to call them, I would just always like military, let's take them over, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But now, I don't know if you know this, when you discover an independent like that, if you click on them, you can actually spend points and get them on your side. And if you can get the independents on your side over time, they will eventually just merge into your empire. They'll become annexed in. And you get their armies. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have done some diplomacy with these little city states, and they give me gifts now. It's awesome.
it said that once they're on your side, they rarely will flip on you. Now, keep in mind, everybody, if they make AI changes and patches, this all may change. This is how
Yeah.
it is right now, at just in its early state. But the game's beautiful. Let's talk about performance. Like my machine, I'm rocking still a 3080. I went ahead and did a PC buy through Steam. I really close to doing it on PlayStation, but I want to be able to play it locally. I will tell you, I was able to install it on my Steam Deck and it ran great. I had to
Awesome.
have
That's
everything drop
great
down to
news.
low. I had that, but I got into some of the upper turns and that fan was squealing like a pig. It was going, but
Yeah.
it didn't, to the credit of the Steam Deck, it didn't slow down. It played pretty well. I can tell though, if I'm going to get into those upper levels, it's probably going to struggle on performance. But my PC is a 3080 video card. I'm still rocking an i7. It's handling like a champ. My big thing is I have this monster 45-inch flex display, and it
Yeah.
takes a lot. My PC, the fans were blaring. I had to even Doug mentioned like it's cold right here in Missouri. I had to crack my window on a 20
Getting a
degree
little warm
day
in there.
because my office was getting kind of toasty when I was playing Civ. So, how about you? What's the performance on? You're on the laptop, right?
Yeah, I'm on the laptop, which that's the big concern with laptops. So thin, where does all the air go?
Yeah,
I've
they
got
get
it
toasty.
sitting on a cooling fan. It just blows cool air up into the laptop.
That was your
Um,
Micro Center buy when we did that for the podcast,
it
was it?
was, yeah,
Yeah,
and it's working great so far.
that's awesome.
And then it gets a little dusty, sucks all the dust up off the desk, but I clean my laptop regularly. I have I think a 3070, 32 gigs of RAM. It's doing great. I went to the modern age. That's where it started struggling.
Really?
So you have, at the modern age, you should have discovered the entire world if
Mhm.
you're doing a good job with your scouts. So then you have the entire world discovered, lots of cities, lots of settlements, tons of moves. Now you're looking at everybody's moves across the entire board, and that's where it started struggling. My fan kicked on, so I plugged in my little fan that I sit it on from Micro Center, and that helped it a little bit, but it got a little warm. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been
But
doing
no
good.
lag, no
Good.
issues on the game. I think it's running great.
And by the way, I want to do a shout out because we don't want to steal content here. The gameplay footage is featured today from Potato McWhiskey. So I want to
Yeah.
do a shout out to our friend Potato McWhiskey here because I don't want to steal content, but he has a long playthrough here of 3 hours, and it's just kind of nice to have in the background
And
while we're
he's
talking.
explaining everything. It's
Yep.
really nice. I need to watch it
I need
through
to
again.
watch some of videos like his because I bet he's breaking
Yeah.
down some stuff. I feel like I need an education. I think that's my biggest, and I'm okay with that. If I can, I have the feeling there's a great game here as long as I can learn up on what all's changed. And
Yeah.
I have to rewire. I can see why people are hating on it because if you've played Civ 5, 4, 6, and all the way up through, you get stuck in a mindset. This game has not fundamentally changed in a very long time.
Yeah.
This is, I would dare say, probably the biggest change that they've gone through. So I just got to learn it and get used to it.
Yeah, I think the one main difference, and you've played, I know others have played, is the stuff that pops up. Like you have
It's
questions to answer
constant,
now constantly, and
constant.
it rewards you sometimes with gold. It
Yeah.
rewards you with free units.
Yeah.
It also rewards you with science, diplomacy, and what's the culture is the
Culture. Yeah.
music one.
Now
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to
So
admit it. I've been playing on the easy because I'm trying to learn it. And on
yeah,
easy, at least, you're right. It's always throwing stuff at me.
yeah.
It's still a challenge. I don't know what level you're playing on, but I'm playing on easy until I learn
I
what's
have
different.
not changed the level, and that was my next thing. Is I think it's too easy. If you're ready to move into
Go ahead.
the enemy cities, we
Yeah,
can.
do it.
So back in Civ 6, Civ 5, if you ever took the military route and started conquering other civilizations, they would never trade you their home or trade you their cities. This one, and I hope they kind of fix it, or I need to turn the difficulty up. If I start whooping on another civilization, they will trade me
Their
2 or
towns.
3 of their cities,
But
and that has never happened
but
before.
okay, so that same thing happened to me. I had really good relations with one other, and we were doing trade route. It was awesome. We were doing joint research, and then the other two picked a fight and declared war on my colleague, my ally.
Yeah,
They came to me and said, "Hey, are you against them?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll go in. I'll throw in with you." It was only a few turns, and I started to amass my troops a little bit, getting
yep.
ready. And what was funny was I had done like one battle and I kicked their tail, and then out of
They gave
nowhere,
up.
well, he came to me and they were like, "Hey, we want peace. Here's a city." And they gave up a city. Now, here's the catch that I learned in watching those videos. At the top left, there's a little picture of a building and it has a fraction. And on our screen right now, it says on Potato McWhiskies, it says
1 of 3.
1/3. You know what that means?
Yeah, yeah.
That is your empire sustaining city rate. Okay. So that means he has 1 out of 3 slots. Here's what happens. And I made this mistake. If you go above that 3, so let's say you're at 4/3, and I did because once they gave them to me, I was like, sure, I'll take your city. You start getting penalized. And what happens is that city starts revolting against you and you can't keep them happy.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know that. So part of me thinks, Doug, is the reason why they're giving up the cities is it's almost a penalty to you. And so
Oh, no, I never thought of it that way.
so they're giving it up because it actually hurts you and it'll hurt your empire.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I've learned since then I don't take unless it has a strategic advantage and I'm within my ratio, I'll take it over. Otherwise, when you take a city over, whatever, it'll ask you if you want to take it over, raise. I'm raising them. I'm basically taking all the resources because it doesn't encourage you to do all this colony and city building like it used to. They
Yeah.
cap you because if you get over that ratio, and it happened to me, like and when you have a revolt, the internal citizens will start destroying the structures themselves.
The
And
I've
then
had that.
they can
Yeah.
plead for a neighboring group to come take them over and be a part of their empire. So
It is a lot to manage now.
it is more. So I think the things that are our complaints is because we're locked in a prior Civ mindset where before it's like, yeah, man, I'll have as many settlements as I want. I want a massive empire, right? No. I think they're now trying, and honestly, I appreciate that they're trying something new. I just feel like I got to learn it. I'm hoping with patches it does get better. I'm encouraged that they're going to be releasing more patches. I think it's a beautiful game. I think it's only going to get better as it gets patched because Fire Access is a very good developer. They always
Yes.
do great. They don't make garbage.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it.
No, I think you're right. I think I would love to see, and I think I'm seeing a push instead of let's conquer everything. How about we get a science win or a culture win
You're right.
instead of a warmonger win?
You're right. Because you can win by economics now. You
Yeah.
can win by. I think you're right. I think they're trying to add different
Let's
angles.
just not kill
Yeah.
everything.
They're
Let's work together.
Yeah. Now you can do a military route. It does
Yeah.
let you do that, but you're not going to do. What's cool about it is, and I think it's cool about it. You're not going to do a military route where you have 50 settlements and you're just. It's kind of like StarCraft, where you're just churning out, a bunch of slingshot
Yeah.
people. You're not going to win that way. You actually have to develop the military. Now, that's one pet peeve I don't like. When you move from one age to another,
I was just going to bring that up.
isn't it the certain units are gone from you? Like
So certain
yeah.
units will not be available in your later ages.
Yep.
So going from Enlightenment to Antiquities to Enlightenment.
Exploration to
Or yeah, that's what I mean.
Yep.
So when you move up ages, you'll lose some of your troops, but some that are available for upgrade will spawn at your cities.
They auto up the ones that you do keep. They do auto upgrade, which
yeah,
I
that's
like.
so that saves you coin because if you remember in the past, you had to upgrade
spend
them with
money.
coin,
And then you got like
be
tanks,
in friendly territory.
Tanks going against dudes with spears, like in the past.
I've had that. So Not to talk about my game a lot, I am fighting a civilization as a marine unit in the back of some amphibious vehicle,
Okay.
and they're shooting arrows at me.
That's awesome.
I'm super excited.
You're just dominating the dojo
The
there.
Marines are kicking butt.
That's awesome. That's so cool. It's a fun game. So we're gonna try. I think we're gonna try tonight. We're gonna try to play the multiplayer, and we're also gonna put the cross-platform to test because our friend Joe has
Yeah.
it on PlayStation. We're all playing on Steam. I will say it's gonna be interesting to me because in the past when I've played Civilization, it's kind of a bit of a slog in that you get over with your turn and you're like staring at the ceiling. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
come on, Doug.
I'm gonna go ahead and call out our friend Alex.
Oh, dude, he takes forever.
We're always waiting on Alex.
Even in real board games, I know.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm curious if that's still the case though on this, but we'll
Yeah,
see
I
how
wonder.
it goes. Yeah, I am curious.
But with more stuff to do, more stuff to research, it might be better because
it
while
might
somebody
be.
else is playing a game. Oh, and the other thing, see, I'm remembering all the stuff from last night. So you can also do queues now on your cities.
I love that,
So, and I love that. So that's what
dude.
I'm talking about. While you're waiting for your
Yep,
turn, go around to your cities and hit your queue list.
stack it.
And it queues your buildings, it
Yep,
queues your units. I love that feature.
dude. That is a great feature because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. Because you're like, you know what? I want to build a hanging gardens, and then after that, I want you to build some chariots, and then after that, I want
The
you to
queue
build some
list is
granary.
amazing.
I love
Yeah,
that. If they can do that kind of stuff, in it, if they can bring back certain things, I don't know, man.
yeah.
I am so optimistic for future patches. I think there's a great. I think there's the bones and the infrastructure and the framing of a great game here. And
Yeah.
I do think it's early on. I think they'll make right by it. I think they've got. I love the changes that they're trying to make. So I'm
Mhm.
encouraged. We'll see. Did you see like on the map? Reminding me here, they have flood zones. They have a lot more natural disasters, flood zones and
Yeah.
storms and
That's a
volcanoes.
good thing to get into. The ones I've experienced, I've seen a lot of floods. I'm right on a riverbank. I want that fresh water bonus and
hmm
that travel with my merchant bonus,
hmm
but there's a hazard there.
Yeah.
I've also had tons and tons of volcanoes on the map I'm currently on,
And
as
when
well as,
go
and I
ahead.
don't want to go too far ahead,
Yeah.
but the
No.
plague.
Yeah.
I've had a plague spread from city to city and other civilizations where I create a, is it a physician is the
Yep.
name of the unit
Yep.
in my civilization. I create a physician to go to those towns and cure the plague. It's
And
crazy.
what I love about those, like whether it's the plague or the flood zones, if Doug and I are allied enough, and I see in my timeline that especially if he and I have trade routes, right? And let's say he goes through a flood zone, he gets flooded, he may take a hit on his food production. Guess what? I can send him aid.
Yeah,
That's cool. And I can do
it
it
is
in
really cool.
I can do it in gold. I can do it. There's like options. Same for if he
Yeah.
had a plague, I can send him aid. That's really kind of cool. I like
Oh,
that a
yeah.
lot. Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, I like the aspect, like I said earlier, of let's not kill everything. Let's actually work together and get tons of bonuses.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
You can do research together now.
Yeah.
And you
Yep.
both get the research. It fast tracks your research. You spend your diplomacy points, like 50 points. And then
Mhm.
for so many turns, like the two civilizations will both be studying the same thing. And the cool thing is at the end, you both get the benefit of it,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Now we can focus on a little bit of the stuff they took away. They took away builders.
They did.
You no longer have to purchase builders
Yep.
or create builders to go out to your little tiles
Personally, I
and make
like
your
that.
improvements.
I like
I
that.
like it too,
Yeah.
but no, I thought I had an argument, but I like it. What I was going to say is the builders give you multiple options where this kind of just gives you
This is like Settlers
what
of
is
Catan.
available on the tile.
Like if now what happens is so before you would move a builder to a tile and could you just tell him to build pretty much anything? And if it was
Anything, yeah.
and if it was a tile that had like certain rock on it, he would get an unlock bonus for like a mine, right? So he
Yeah.
could build a farm if you didn't want a mine. Now the tiles, the hexagon tiles are locked, and when you hover your mouse over it, it'll say you will get a mine, you will get a farm, you will get
And that's all you get.
yeah, it's predetermined by the randomization of the map.
Yeah.
Personally, I like that.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I mean,
Now,
I
the
think
other
it's cool.
thing I've noticed as you develop that tile, if you turn it into like a city center or like a suburb, I'm using the wrong word, you can build two things on one tile. I don't know if you've noticed that yet.
No, you can say that again. You can build two things.
So each tile, if it's like in the city, you
Mhm.
can put two buildings on that one tile. So like a
Is that
hospital and an armory.
really? So is that when it asks you? So when you're able to unlock a building like a granary or whatever,
Yeah.
and then it lets you select what tile to put it on.
As long as it's not overlapping. So you can't replace a granary with a mine. So
Got
a
it.
mine is a mine by itself.
Yep.
But if you go somewhere else, it'll let you put
Huh.
2 different buildings on one tile. I like that
Do
a
you see,
lot.
guys? Like, this is what I mean by learning. I feel like there's
I'm
so
still learning so much about this
well,
game.
and I watched a lot of those videos, and they were really helpful. But I still feel like there's so much more to learn with this game.
Oh, yes. And I think us playing together maybe tonight as a
It's gonna
group.
help.
Hey, I've learned this. Hey, I learned this. This is cool. Yeah.
It'll be good. All right. I'm
I,
looking forward to it. It's fun. But
we've covered
overall,
a lot and
we
we haven't
have.
covered anything at all at the same time.
It feels like we. I don't know. I think this is going to be a game in development. It'll be interesting to revisit and talk about what's the differences after patch and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, I think the one thing you brought up, and you said it happened in previous civs, is maybe they'll have a retro mode or a classic mode where you go
Yes.
back to the old ways of 4, 5, and Civ 6.
Yeah, that would be cool
Because
if you could do
people that
6 rules.
love the series, they don't want things to change. They
Yeah,
just want it the same.
use this engine, but maybe with Civ 6 rules or something. Classic mode. That would be kind of cool.
So yeah, I'm very excited for everything to come on that.
Yeah, it's it's a fun game. I'm looking forward to playing it. We have a lot of. I think it was our last episode. We did the video game of all the things that are coming out in February. There's a lot of stuff coming out. So, but this was the one that was at the top of our list and why we wanted to showcase it. So we'll let you know how it goes. But other than that, man, I think we're in the bag for season 4 or season 4 episode 4. I'm jumping ahead there. So yeah, man, it's gonna be good. So bring us home, Dougie.
I'm going to finish this out with a quick conversation
Please.
about there's a DLC for Division 2 coming out. What
What?
the heck? Yeah. We
Like
don't have time for a whole conversation.
the OG Division you're talking about?
Yeah, so
Tom Clancy?
Division 2 is coming out with the Battle for Brooklyn.
Are you really going to go back to that game? Because it kind of got grindy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll go back. People have played and played and played, and then they're like, I'll go back. So I'll go back as a level 10. They'll be a level 10,000.
So the last one that they know
That's my luck.
Warlords of New York was the last one. God, straight up from Ubisoft, it is $40 still. Did you know that?
Still $40.
It is.
I thought it'd be one of those discount ones.
Here we go. Brooklyn. No, it's not. And that's off of their website. Wow, I can't believe this game was released a long time ago. It was released in 2019.
Oh man.
And so what do you think of that? Because Ubisoft has not been.
I think it's time for another Division.
Well, Ubisoft has not been doing great. You're right. Look at that.
Later this year, yep.
We're headed back to New York for the Battle of Brooklyn DLC. We'll be launching this year. Here's a sneak peek for your eyes only. I don't know. Ubisoft, I don't know, y'all. Get your act together. That's all I'm going to say. I get it. People love this game. It's still on I think it's still on the Unreal Engine 4. They just need to, maybe they are. They probably are working on an Unreal Engine 5, although Ubisoft hasn't been doing so well. Look at you. You threw a curveball at me at the end of the episode. I didn't expect you to bring this up. June 2025 is when this is going to come out.
Allegedly.
Year 7 of support. Now, I will say it's kind of cool
that they've been supporting it so long.
I'm mixed on it because why are you doing it? Is it because you're just trying to get money? Or is it that you really do care about the game? Or are you just trying to satiate people wanting to play it while you develop Division 3? What's going on here, people?
I don't know. Well, I hope it's a holdover until we get Assassin's Creed Black Flag remastered.
That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Oh, remastered would be even better. I love Black Flag.
I was told, not by a reliable source, I read that they're supposed to remaster Black Flag.
I'm cool with remasters. I like remasters. So, all right, now you can bring us home.
Now, yeah. I like to throw a curveball. We want to thank everybody for listening. We're going to have more on Civ 7 as we learn how to play it, learn some new tips and tricks. If you have anything, make sure to hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Give us some of the tips that you've learned. We need some help over here.
Yeah, dude.
And got that merch store out there. We're doing good. Got a lot of fun stuff to do this year.
We do. It's going to be a good season, man. It's already off to a strong start. So we want to thank you for joining us. You all have an awesome, awesome week, and we will see you for episode number 5 next week, which we have interesting. It's going to be tech heavy. We're going to give you some tips. We're going to talk about some really cool tech stuff related to NAS, network
I'm super
attached
excited, and I have a
storage.
lot of questions. So
The network attached storage, yeah, it's gonna be fun. So we'll dive into that and show you how you can do some really cool stuff at your house. And then we're setting up some other cool stuff down the way. Of course, we got some places we're going to visit. But thank you for joining us. You all have an awesome week, and we will catch you next time. Take care.
see ya.